Scientists discover a new species lurking in the depths of the Southern Ocean. Weird looking thing, isn't it?
The submarine is one of humanity's most incredible inventions, enabling us to explore the hostile depths of the ocean and even engage in underwater warfare. Modern submarines are often equipped with cameras to record their surroundings, capturing some of the freakiest things ever seen beneath the waves. From a genuine sea monster to a terrifying water spider you'd never want to encounter, here are the 20 scariest things found by submarines. Number 20. Squid Graveyard. The environment in our seas is weird and unique. The National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration asserts that fewer than 5% of the ocean has been investigated up to this point. That means that 95% of the vast, unexplored expanse remains hidden from human sight. A strange occurrence involving the deep-water squid population in the Gulf of California can't be undone, but it may result in more illuminating findings. The first squid graveyard was discovered by researchers at the Monterey Bay Aquarium Research Institute off the coast of the Gulf of California. The squids perish after a frantic breeding cycle. The dead squid served as an underground smorgasbord for other marine life, like starfish, ratfish, acorn worms, sea cucumbers, and crabs. The majority of the squid are devoured within a 24-hour period, while the other marine life feasts on the squid. This graveyard is remarkable to biologists, as squid carcasses are rarely observed. In fact, because the carrion of tiny animals vanishes so rapidly, scientists know little about it. The beginnings of this investigation could hold the key to understanding how humans affect the water. These deep-sea squids lead mysterious lifestyles that are unknown to us. Number 19. USS Johnson Shipwreck, deepest known shipwreck. The USS Johnson, which perished in the Battle of Leyte Gulf, has been positively identified after spending nearly 77 years undisturbed on the Pacific Ocean floor. The wreckage is the deepest ever found, laying more than 20,000 feet below the surface. According to the Naval History and Heritage Command, the Vulcan-incorporated research vessel Petrel discovered the remains of a Fletcher-class destroyer on the brink of an underwater cliff in October 2019. However, the ship's identification remained unknown until recently. The ship has now been located using photos from the undersea technology business Caledon Oceanic, run by veteran military commander Victor Vescovo. On October 25, 1944, the battleship was destroyed in the battle off Samar, part of the wider, more drawn-out Battle of Leyte Gulf. According to their planning documents, the Japanese were only looking for a fitting place to die, because the fate of the war had already been decided. Despite having superior technology, American arrogance, particularly that of Admiral Bill Halsey, allowed a Japanese force, which included 6 heavy cruisers, 2 light cruisers, 11 destroyers, 4 battleships, and the super battleship Yamato, to catch American troops unaware. Admiral Chester Nimitz, commander of the Pacific Fleet, sent Halsey a rare scathing letter from Hawaii to make sense of what happened. This letter would go on to become one of the most well-known in naval history. Number 18. Underwater spider. Being the only species of spider known to spend its whole existence underwater makes the diving bell spider a fascinating creature. The spider lives entirely underwater, only surfacing occasionally to refuel on oxygen. It inhabits freshwater environments, including ponds and lakes, in Asia and Europe, ranging from Great Britain to Japan and encompassing much of the entire region in between. The diving bell spider constructs a silk device that mimics a diving bell, making it one of the most inventive techniques for underwater breathing among all creatures. The male of this species is larger than most spiders, despite the fact that females produce larger diving bells. Researchers believe that the energy males might use for growth is instead utilized to produce more complex silk constructions. Despite not being venomous, the diving bell spider is said to have a bite that may be highly painful for humans, occasionally resulting in inflammation, vomiting, or a mild fever in the hours after the bite. Number 17. Apollo Engine. Jeff Bezos, the creator of Amazon and a space entrepreneur, stated his intention to explore the depths not long after James Cameron's deep-sea mission. Bezos aimed to retrieve the F-1 engines that propelled the Saturn V rocket, which sent the Apollo 11 moon landing mission into space. He recently claimed on his website that his team had retrieved the engines successfully. These engines, which were blasted from the Saturn V rocket when Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin went into space, were found 14,000 feet below the surface of the sea off the coast of Florida. The engines remained NASA property, and once Bezos returns them, he plans to donate them to a Seattle museum. He wants the final engines to have the naturally worn appearance of hardware that sat at the bottom of the ocean for decades after descending from the sky at 5,000 miles per hour. The components are being repaired to reduce additional corrosion before being welded together. Number 16. Creepy creatures that feast on dead whales. A dead whale in the deep water serves as an unexpected feast for marine creatures, from tiny crimson worms to an eerie fleet of octopuses. There's no peaceful slumber for a dead whale. It becomes an immediate meal in a hostile environment that's essentially a food desert devoid of any sustenance. As soon as its enormous body dives to the ocean floor, It provides a sudden and unexpected feast for the hungry critters that call that place home. Craig Smith, a researcher at the University of Hawaii, noted that a dead whale can provide the energy to nourish marine life for 100 years in one go. Deep-sea organisms typically feed on microscopic marine snow that drifts from the upper seas, such as shell pieces, feces, and dead plankton. However, a whale fall produces a rich and spontaneous ecosystem unto itself. Along widely used migratory routes like the California coast, there are likely hundreds of thousands of whale fall carcasses. However, their generation biology's disappearing act is seldom ever seen. This year, the Nautilus crew investigated the Davidson Seamount, a geological formation about 70 miles off the coast of Monterey. This underwater mountain rises nearly 7,000 feet above the ocean floor and is the aquatic equivalent of Donner Summit for human divers. The seamount's frigid temperatures, constant darkness, and bone-crushing water pressure make it an incredibly hazardous environment. Now it's time for today's subscriber pick. Recently, this spine-chilling photo surfaced online, reportedly captured by an underwater camera during a deep-sea exploration. The image appears to show a massive, menacing creature with a gaping mouth lined with razor-sharp teeth, lurking in the pitch-black depths of the ocean. The eerie glow from the diver's light only adds to the haunting atmosphere, making it look like something straight out of a monster movie. The creature has sparked wild debates across the internet. Some marine biologists speculate that it could be a new species of deep-sea predator, while others argue it might be an exaggerated image of a frilled shark or an ancient coelacanth. But here's the kicker. Many viewers believe this isn't just a sea creature but a cryptid, an undiscovered species that's evaded human contact for centuries. A few conspiracy theorists even whisper about government experiments gone wrong. On the other hand, skeptics are calling this image an elaborate hoax, perhaps a clever blend of CGI and real underwater footage. The lack of a clear source for the photo only fuels the mystery. What do you think, real-life sea monster or digital trickery? If you've seen anything similar or have more proof, send it our way. Let's dive deeper into the unknown. Number 15. Alien-looking creature drifting past ROV camera at over 7,000 feet near ocean floor off Africa's east coast. This film was captured by a remotely operated vehicle. It shows a crazy purple jellyfish, one single species of Pelagia noctiluca, a jellyfish in the family Pelagidae. It also goes by the name purple stinger, purple people eater, purple jellyfish, luminous jellyfish, and nightlight jellyfish. Other common names are purple striped jelly and purple stinger. Pelagia is a Greek word that translates to she of the sea, coming from the Latin word noctiluca, which combines the Latin words nox, meaning night, and lux, meaning light, so lady night light of the sea basically. This is a marine creature that has the capacity to glow in the dark. It may be found in tropical and warm-tempered oceans all around the world, despite the fact that it's believed that data from areas beyond the North Atlantic, such as the Mediterranean and the Gulf of Mexico, reflect closely similar but unidentified species. Number 14. The long arm squid. It has large flapping fins that dwarf its head, a body that bobbles through the murky water, and thin blue tentacles that trail behind it like neon spaghetti. It also has the appearance of an extraterrestrial. The mysterious big-fin squid, although having an unearthly look, may be more prevalent than previously thought in the Earth's deep waters. The big-fin squid has only been observed in the wild 12 times worldwide in the 113 years since its discovery. 5 recent sightings have all been taken thousands of feet below the surface of the Great Australian Bight in South Australia. Not only have big-fin squid never before been spotted in Australian seas, but 5 of them have also never before been discovered congregating in one location. According to senior study author Deborah Osterhage, the video gives an unparalleled view of the strange cephalopod's anatomy and behavior. It was shot by underwater cameras trailing behind a big research vessel. The first big-fin squid specimen was discovered by scientists in 1907 and was obtained by fishermen close to Portugal. It wasn't until 1988 that someone finally caught a glimpse of one swimming 15,535 feet under the surface off the coast of Brazil. The squid stands out because of its enormous fins, which protrude from its body like Dumbo the elephant's ears. Osterhage said the big fins move through the water by flapping their enormous fins, which are as wide as the squid's upper body or mantle is long. Number 13. Mermaid Hand. In the network's 17-year existence, Animal Planet attracted its biggest audience, and it was also triggering a Twitter craze that's still going strong today. However, it was discovered that the Animal Planet documentary on mermaids was fake, which likely angered the program's record-breaking 3.6 million viewers. As a sequel to Mermaids, the body found from the previous year, Mermaids, the new evidence featured scientist Dr. Paul Robinson returning with what was said to be brand new footage of the magical beings captured in the Greenland Sea. It was so popular that it helped the network win the crucial 25 to 54-year-old demographic. Around 1.5 million streams of mermaid-related videos were uploaded online after it aired. The blinking you'll miss it warning that the show was science fiction based on scientific theory placed at the conclusion of it, does not seem to have been noticed by those millions of viewers. The special documentary included a video of a purported mermaid sighting, in addition to an exclusive interview with a man who was said to be a former scientist with the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. However, both the scientist and the mermaid were fakes. The program even hinted at a cover-up of mermaid proof by the government, complete with a spin-off website that was purportedly seized by the Departments of Justice and Homeland Security. Number 12. Rare sea angels spotted off Russian coast. Amazing video of a creature that resembles an extraterrestrial was captured swimming beneath the ice off the Russian coastal surface. During a 2018 voyage to the White Sea, scientist and diver Alexander Semenov, 34, recorded the peaceful footage. The ice sparkles faintly beneath the light as it depicts what's known as a sea angel gently gliding over the black ocean. The amazing pteropod mollusk, known as the sea angel or Clyone limicina, dwells in the water column. According to Alexander, as it evolved, the Clyone shed its shell and developed wings instead of the usual snail foot that gives this class of animals its name, pteropods. He stated, "The sea angel is one of the most beautiful swimmers in the invertebrate world. It beats its wings in a manner that's quite similar to a butterfly fluttering its wings slowly." Alexander is an authority on these stunning animals. He and his colleagues have been researching sea angel life cycles and behavior for 7 years. They have a variety of hunting techniques. Some are ambush predators who wait for their prey, while others actively pursue it. Number 11. SpongeBob and Patrick fish-looking species spotted in the ocean. An ocean expedition looking more than a mile below the surface of the Atlantic found a sponge that strikingly resembled SpongeBob SquarePants, and right next to it was a pink sea star that resembled Patrick, SpongeBob's dim-witted best friend. Christopher Ma was one of the scientists watching a live feed from a submersible launched from the NOAA ship Okeanos Explorer. He collaborates often with the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration as a research associate at the National Museum of Natural History. He also has expertise in starfish. Ma tells reporters, "They're a dead ringer for the cartoon characters." He then pointed out the similarities in a photo of the two and shared it, which received a lot of attention. Someone thought it appropriate to include faces and legs. Ma thinks the creature's closeness is caused by more than just cooling down together underwater. Sponge is a preferred meal of sea stars. In all likelihood, the reason that the starfish is right next to that sponge is because that sponge is just about to be eaten, at least in part, he explains, or maybe not. Ma asserts that the sponge's chemical defenses may account for its striking yellow color. In any event, he continues, the reality is a little crueler than perhaps the cartoon would suggest. Number 10. City of Dwarka found underwater. The city of Dwarka, one of the 7 holy pilgrimage sites in India, is significant both historically and religiously. The old form of the city, known in the epic Mahabharata as the Kingdom of Krishna, was a walled metropolis that stretched across about 84 kilometers at the confluence of the Gomti River and the Arabian Sea. The scripture claims that after Krishna's passing, the old city was submerged beneath the Arabian Sea. Archaeologists searched for tangible proof of the submerged city off the coast of present-day Dwarka in the second part of the 20th century, in an effort to establish its existence beyond a reasonable doubt. As a result, several artifacts, including stone pillars and blocks, have been found underwater. Divers also reported discovering what appeared to be submerged streets and grid-like patterns resembling ancient city layouts, further fueling the belief in the city's historical basis. Marine archaeologists have noted that the craftsmanship of some artifacts suggests advanced architectural techniques for the time. Additional evidence, such as pottery shards and inscriptions, hint at a bustling trade port, possibly linking Dwarka to ancient maritime routes. These findings have sparked global interest, with international experts collaborating on studying the artifact. Nevertheless, it is still uncertain how old these discoveries actually are. Archaeologists are currently organizing an underwater excavation to hunt for the remains of the old city walls. Indian history will be greatly impacted if they can pinpoint the settlement's exact site. Number 9. Yellow Brick Road. The road to Atlantis is a beautiful rock structure that was recently discovered and mimics the Yellow Brick Road from The Wizard of Oz. The underwater road was discovered off the coast of Hawaii by deep-sea explorers searching for seamounts, which are submerged structures created by volcanic activity. According to a video posted by EV Nautilus on YouTube, the exploration vessel Nautilus crew discovered an interesting feature while doing research in the Liliuokalani Ridge of the Pacific Ocean. It is a component of the American Papahanaumokuakea Marine National Monument. While live streaming their discoveries, the researchers encountered a formation that appeared to be a brick path constructed by humans and had magnificent rectangular bricks. They jokingly speculated that the golden brick pathway they found at the bottom of the Pacific Ocean might be the road to Atlantis, a fictional island where an imperial empire once existed. When the team saw the structure, A researcher on the radio declared that it was the road to Atlantis. In response, another scientist questioned if they meant the yellow brick road. Although it seems to be a golden brick road leading to the fictitious city of Atlantis, it is actually an example of ancient active volcanic geology. They said the cobblestone-like pattern of fissures in the rock was probably the result of several volcanic eruptions throughout antiquity that produced repeated heating and cooling. Number 8. The Mariana Trench. The Mariana Trench is a 1,550-mile-long trench in the ocean floor that runs roughly halfway between Japan and Papua New Guinea in the Pacific Ocean. At 7 miles below sea level or Challenger Deep, it is the deepest point on Earth. Mount Everest's peak would still be 1.2 miles below the surface if you dropped it in there. It goes without saying that the ocean pressure is extremely high down there. It takes a very tough submarine to withstand it, as well as a very tough submariner, and Victor Vescovo currently holds the world record for both. He has now gone deeper than anyone in history. Not content with having scaled the highest mountain on every continent, at the bottom of the trench, what did he discover? Other sea species such as snailfish and various creatures that resemble blob. Oh, and he also discovered a plastic bag there, along with several candy bar wrappers. So, it's just your typical 7-Eleven, basically. Number 7. Massive siphonophore found underwater. It's a siphonophore, sometimes known as the long stringy thing, which looks to be one animal but is actually thousands of tiny animals. These are referred to as zooids, in which each creature in the colony serves a distinct purpose, such as luring prey, reproducing, or protecting the colony. Despite the fact that scientists have known about them for a long time, new video from an expedition off the coast of Western Australia, published by the Schmidt Ocean Institute, reveals the length of the siphonophore's gigantic tentacles. This discovery sparked excitement among marine biologists, as it provided an opportunity to better understand how these delicate organisms survive and thrive in extreme ocean depths. Interestingly, researchers observed that the siphonophore's bioluminescent capabilities are used not just for attracting prey but also for confusing predators. Close examination of the video also revealed intricate patterns in the way the zooids are organized, almost like a living conveyor belt performing multiple tasks simultaneously. This level of coordination in a single colony challenges the traditional definition of individuality in biology. In some cases, the zooids' specialized roles evolve depending on environmental conditions, which further underscores the adaptability of these remarkable organisms. The siphonophore's outer ring was estimated to be 49 feet in diameter, making the entire organism roughly 154 feet long. The scientists said in response to a question regarding size on Twitter that there are relationships between temperature and several zooid sizes. Number 6. Giant squid. Even though the giant squid is the biggest invertebrate in the world, scientists are still mystified by it. The largest of these elusive creatures to be found was 59 feet long and weighed roughly a ton. On the other hand, due to their hostile deep-sea environment, studying them has proven to be incredibly challenging. Almost all that's known about them comes from the remains of animals that have washed up on beaches or been hauled in by fishermen. The investigation into these elusive species has only recently started, according to scientists. In 2004, Japanese scientists took the first images of a live giant squid. Scientists from Japan's National Science Museum captured and brought to the surface a live 24-foot-long female giant squid in late 2006. The 10-inch diameter eyes of giant squid are the largest in the animal kingdom. They can recognize objects in the dark where most other species wouldn't be able to see anything thanks to their large eyes. Like other squid species, they have 8 arms and 2 bigger feeding tentacles to help them get food. With their beak-like mouths, they probably eat fish, shrimp, and other squid. Some people think they could also hunt and eat smaller whales. They move their gigantic bodies using fins that seem to be rather small compared to their size. They move forward by forcing water through their funnel, which they suck into the mantle or center of the organism, and propel out the back. Giant squid carcasses have been found in every ocean in the world. Despite this, scientists don't know enough about these animals to determine exactly where they reside. Number 5. The Baltic Sea Anomaly. A feature discovered by Swedish treasure hunters on the seafloor of the Baltic Sea is making headlines once more. The latest media attention stems from an hour-long radio interview with Ocean X team leader Peter Lindberg, during which Lindberg makes a number of titillating and cryptic claims about the strange and mysterious undersea items his team has been investigating for a year. He said on the radio, "It has these very strange stair formations, as if it's man-made. It must have been built before the Ice Age, tens of thousands of years ago. Around 20,000 years ago, the most recent Ice Age reached its height." He added, "If this is Atlantis, it would be rather remarkable." Ancient mythology makes reference to the fabled underwater metropolis of Atlantis. Lindbergh acknowledges that the object may be a natural structure, like an underwater volcano or a meteorite that shattered during the Ice Age, but he gives the impression that specialists are baffled. Geologists have told them, he claims, that the object cannot be a volcano. Number 4. Bimini Road. The limestone blocks that make up the Bimini Road are primarily rectangular in form. While the majority of them appear to have been initially cut at right angles, the passage of time underwater has smoothed their edges. While the two side roads contain smaller but similarly even blocks, the main road's blocks are between 10 and 13 feet long and 7 to 10 feet wide. The bigger blocks seem to be placed in size order and lined up next to one another. Interestingly, sonar scans and 3D imaging have revealed additional patterns beneath the visible structures, suggesting the possibility of an even larger submerged complex. Geologists have also noted peculiar markings on some blocks that resemble ancient carving tools, which has added fuel to the debate over whether the road is man-made or natural. Divers have also found coral formations uniquely growing along the block seams, which hints at long-standing underwater exposure. Some researchers claim that sediment analysis around the site points to human activity from thousands of years ago, further challenging natural formation theories. The site continues to attract explorers and scientists alike, with ongoing studies attempting to decode its origins. The road was initially unearthed in 1968 by divers who called it pavement at the time. Then, what Joseph Manson Valentine, Jacques Mayol, and Robert Engove believed to be a long, continuous rock was actually a linear arrangement of smaller stones, as they later learned. As they shared their find with other archaeologists, rumors started to spread that this route had not formed naturally. Many Atlantis enthusiasts and even some archaeologists have proposed that this may have been a route to Atlantis, given the road's location and eerily flawless creation. Number 3. Dying Coral Reef. 2,600 miles southwest of Hawaii, on the Samoan island of Upolu, researchers examined 124 coral reef locations. Global coral die-offs are mostly caused by climate change, while human activities like overfishing and pollution are huge contributors. In contrast to places like the Great Barrier Reef, the researchers believed that the reefs near distant Upolu could be doing better. Instead, they discovered that the coral was severely harmed and dying. Live coral coverage was less than 1% in 50% of the locations investigated and less than 10% in 80% of the sites. The coverage may have ranged from 60 to 80% just 2 years ago. Additionally, 2 kinds of fish discovered in the reefs were 10% smaller than the fish found on surrounding adjacent islands. According to the researchers, the coral's precarious state is caused by a mix of local activity, climate change, and physical harm from tropical storms. Even though coral reefs only make up roughly half of France's land area, they are home to at least 25% of all marine species, including fish, mollusks, worms, crustaceans, echinoderms, sponges, tunicates, and other cnidarians. Coral reefs thrive in ocean conditions with limited nutrients. Although coral reefs are most frequently seen at shallow depths in tropical environments, they can also be found on a lesser scale in deep water and cold water. However, due to their sensitivity to ocean conditions, coral reefs have declined by 50% since 1950. They're threatened by excessive nutrients, rising ocean temperatures, and acidification, as well as overfishing from methods including blast fishing, cyanide fishing, and spearfishing while wearing scuba gear. Additional threats include sunscreen use and detrimental land use practices. Number 2. Huge ice fish colony of 60 million nests found on Antarctic seabed. The ice-covered Weddell Sea in Antarctica is home to a breeding colony of 60 million fish, an unusual and hitherto unrecognized ecosystem that occupies a space the size of Malta. The amazing discovery demonstrates how little is understood about the ocean's depths. The impressive icefish, which has a see-through head and translucent blood, lives in this massive colony, thought to be the largest in the entire globe. The only vertebrates without red blood cells are icefish. They evolved an antifreeze protein in their translucent blood that prevents ice crystals from forming, enabling them to survive at such low temperatures. The breeding colony was found in February 2021, while being surveyed by the German Antarctic research ship Polarstern, which was traveling approximately half a kilometer below the surface of the water. It made use of a car-sized camera system mounted on the ship's stern that sent images up to the deck as it was being towed. The nests, which stood out from the muddy bottom by a circle of stones, were a surprise because the mission was intended to study ocean currents. For further camera dives showed the breeding colony's extraordinary expansion and stunning uniformity. According to the experts, the colony spans more than 93 square miles. They calculated that the colony has roughly 60 million active nests, with 1 nest on average for every 3 square meters. Number 1. The Antikythera Mechanism. An archaeologist was looking over artifacts recovered from the wreckage of a 2,000-year-old ship off the Greek island of Antikythera, a century and a half ago. Among the valuables recovered from the debris were a bronze figure of an old philosopher, exquisite vases and pots, diamonds, and a system of brass gears and dials encased in a cabinet the size of a mantel clock. Archaeologists named the device the Antikythera mechanism. The brass that was found nearby the accident first gives off the appearance of something that belongs in a junkyard or on the wall of a dive bar with nautical decor. Now all that remains of the contraption is a mess of rusty brass gears welded between two decaying wooden crates. A closer inspection reveals at least 20 gears that have been meticulously stacked on top of one another and tuned with Swiss watch precision. This kind of technology is often dated to the 16th century, if not earlier, by archaeologists. But there was still one question. Was the device necessary? The object was instantly identified by archaeologists as a clock, calendar, or calculator, but they couldn't tell which. For decades, they argued about whether the Antikythera was a miniature representation of the planets or the possibility that it was a simple astrolabe. In 1959, Derek J. DeSalle-Price, a scientific historian at Princeton, published the most thorough scientific analysis of the device to date. He concluded that the mechanism was used to predict where the planets and stars would appear in the sky based on the month. After carefully examining the gears, he determined that the action of the smaller gears would represent the movements of the sun, moon, and planets, while a central gear would represent the length of the year. What creepy things do you think might be lurking in the ocean? Have you ever found anything strange in the water? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to check out the other cool videos on the screen, and I'll see you next time.